Dobre utro. Good morning from Osh Bazaar in central Bishkek. This is the central market of this capital city here in Kyrgyzstan. It's bustling, it's the lifeblood of the city. There's so much vibrant energy here. And today we have an objective. We are doing a section called Taste It, Now Make It. Today we're focusing on Beshbarmak. That is the national dish of Kyrgyzstan. It is a dish that is basically, when you think of Kyrgyzstan, this is the dish for you. Taste It Now Make It is going to focus on finding it in a restaurant. We're gonna head into the Osh Bazaar. We're gonna find a restaurant. We're gonna taste Beshbarmak. Then we're gonna head deeper into the Osh Bazaar. We're gonna shop for ingredients. We're gonna then head to my apartment and cook Beshbarmak. We're gonna see if an American can tackle this Kyrgyz national dish. Follow along. Just through the threshold of Osh Bazaar, we find a lot of kafenitsas, small cafes, or Ashkanas, a kind of Kyrgyz-style lunch spots. So here's one, Cafe Aydana. They've got the menu on the wall, and I think we're gonna go in here. They're open. So this is a traditional Kyrgyz cafe. This is your traditional menu. It's in Cyrillic. You have to be able to read Cyrillic to be able to function in this country. If you don't know Cyrillic, you need to. And here we are, Beshbarmak. Beshbarmak in Kyrgyz means 5 fingers, and this dish was traditionally eaten with your hands. So I think I'm gonna do that when I'm here. So here we are, we've got the Beshbarmak. From what I can tell, we've got fresh noodles right here. I've seen them cut into like kind of flat strips, but these are more like long dough noodles. We've got stewed meat, we've got some animal fat, we've got some onions, and then here, this is also a really traditional thing for Kyrgyzstan. This is a horse sausage. So very interested to try that with a very like obvious intestine casing. And then we've got a broth. So let's give it a try. It looks great. So now we've got to try it. I'm gonna try to get a nice bite of everything here. We've got let's go for a little of the pasta. We've got some meat. We've got some onions. Everything's stewed together very nicely. It smells very aromatic. Since the noodles aren't dried, they're really tender and don't have a lot of texture to it. The meat, I assume this is beef, is just like stewed beef, pretty nice, and really like nice overtone of onions. Very enjoyable. The broth is rich, fatty, very, very beefy, and complements everything. It's kind of like a beef stew. It's a little bit more stew-like than I thought it would be. And here we go, we're gonna try this sausage now. Okay, that's a horse sausage. If you've never had a horse, I know it sounds terrible, but it's one of the most common meats here. They didn't have cows here for a really long time. So people ate horse, people drink horse milk. It's a really common thing, don't be weirded out by it. Horse is a very clean meat, really popular in Italy too, and it's one of my favorite meats actually because it's very lean. And then here they add a little, I think, beef fat, so it makes it a little bit more palatable, but really good, just like really nice meat flavor. Very, very tasty. This whole plate of Beshbarmak cost a total of 160 som, so that is just about $2 US. And the thing is, can we recreate this? I think we can, so let's do it. Back outside, that was delicious. Lots of hints of black pepper, onions, meat, how could that be bad? So now the shopping begins, but to begin, I think we need a traditional Kyrgyz hat. Let's get a hat. All right, so we found the hats. These are the traditional Kyrgyz skull caps. Пожалуйста, пожалуйста. And here are the traditional bigger hats that the Kyrgyz men wear. And I've bought one. I'm ready to make some Beshbarmak. The market today is super, super busy. It's Sunday, so I think everyone's out shopping. Plus, most people aren't eating because it's Ramadan, so lots of people out and about. So here we are now in the heart of the Osh Bazaar. We've got lots and lots of stuff going on here. So first and foremost, I think we need some bread. We maybe need some flour, some eggs. Gotta do it. Getting the flour.
Let's go.
Spasiba, brat. have no idea why, but that man would not let me pay for the flour. So, okay, flour for free. I will take. Got some fresh onions here, potatoes. They always got the dill. All right. This is the coolest part of the market for me. This is the meat section. So they have all of the hanging different parts of meat. You can get it wholesale and you can get whatever cuts you want. It's pretty intense. If you've never smelt meat that's not refrigerated, it has a very unique smell. You definitely got to get used to it, but pretty good. Let's go find some lamb, I think. I got to translate the word for lamb. All right.
Который тебе нравится? Вот этот мяснее, да, больше, да?
Да. 10. All right. We're now on the hunt for some horse sausage from his friend.
Надо. Тесто.
If you even at all like to cook, coming to the market where they actually have real products that people like are doing themselves, that's not packaged, it's not frozen, it's just amazing. It's such a like inspiring experience. So now let's go get us some bread. They have beautiful breads in this country and they do these stamps in the middle. They cook these in tandoors so the bottom gets really nice and roasty. They do onion ones, they do different kinds of things. Look at these breads, my God, so beautiful. Woo, it's popping off in the market. We've got the lamb, we've got the ingredients for the dough. Now it's time to Beshbarmak. So now we're back in my apartment. Everybody welcome. And here are the ingredients for our Beshbarmak. What you're gonna need for this dish is 1 head of dill, 1, 2, 3 onions, 1 egg, 1 beautiful horse sausage, 1 kilo of lamb, 500 grams of flour, some cumin seed, some black pepper, very important, and of course some salt. To start, you're gonna add 3 liters of water to your biggest stock pot that you've got. Slap down that lamb and get ready to cut it into smaller pieces. You want to break this down into pretty decent sized chunks. We're going to be boiling this, so if you go too small, you'll overcook it and dry out the meat. You can remove a bunch of excess fat, but don't remove all the fat. That's the flavor. Now you're going to drop it into the pot. The water shouldn't be boiling at this point. You want to bring it to a boil with the meat in there. Now you're gonna bring that 3 liters of water and that 1 kilo of meat to a boil. It's gonna take some time, and during the boiling process, you're gonna develop this weird scum that continues to come to the top. You're gonna wanna remove that. It's pretty gross, and that's coming from the bones, so keep getting that out of there until you basically have a clear broth. Now you cut your 2 onions into rings. We'll be using those later, so keep those handy. So now we're onto our dough. You're gonna crack an egg into 200 milliliters of water. Hopefully your egg doesn't have weird, gross red things in it, but that's what you get from living in a country with unregulated eggs. Once your egg water mixture is all clean, you're gonna add that 500 grams of flour to the mix. You're gonna start to stir it, combining it slowly until you get kind of a shaggy dough that you can knead by hand. When it's clumping up, get your hands in there. Come on, this is dough. You gotta feel it, you gotta experience it. Then you're gonna take it out of the bowl, plop it onto a board, and get to kneading. This says it's gonna take 10 to 15 minutes. You're gonna knead it a long time because you really wanna develop that gluten so you can stretch it out for the noodles later. It's kind of a bitch, but it's gotta be done. Once the dough stops fighting you so much, you're gonna split it up into 2 pieces, roll it into balls, and then cover it with some plastic wrap so you can develop that gluten, let it chill out for about 15 minutes before rolling. If you've got a horse sausage, now would be the time to add it to your boiling meat for sure. So now we're at the mid-cook check-in. We got the boiling, ooh yeah, look at that. Now we got the sausage in there and everything. And now we're headed for rolling out the pasta. There it is, should be ready. But I don't have a rolling pin, so I'm gonna have to get creative. So now we're rolling the dough. Roll in the dough. We got the dough. Time to roll it. We're gonna use this pickled watermelon jar to get to our consistency for our pasta dough. Very excited. After the 15 minutes has elapsed, it's dough rolling time. So you're gonna wanna get this as thin as you can. I'm definitely not a professional dough roller, but I'm doing my best. I've got my ghetto jar, you know, you gotta keep it moving, gotta keep it going. You just wanna get it nice and thin so you can cut these nice strips that you'll see in a second. So once you're happy with the thickness of your dough, you're gonna wanna get to cutting. So I cut mine into basically 2" by 2" squares. And you're gonna wanna cut these and let these dry out a bit before you put them in the boiling water. After about an hour and a half of boiling total, you're gonna wanna take that meat out, let it sit, and you're gonna actually use that stock to cook the noodles. So that beautiful stock with all of that rendered fat and lamb and horse flavor, you're gonna wanna bring back to a boil and slowly start adding your noodles in one by one. If you do them in a clump, they're gonna stick, so you really gotta do this one by one, making sure that they're not gonna basically form a large clump. Keep moving them around, keep stirring them, and while that's going, you're going to cut that meat up into smaller, basically bite-sized pieces. Next, you're gonna investigate that horse sausage that you're so interested about. It smells like garlic and it's oily and delicious. Look at that, very, very good. Very excited to try that. So you're gonna cut that into rings for presentation later. Nothing fancy, you just wanna get, about 4 or 5 per plate. You've removed the pasta after 4 or 5 minutes, but don't get rid of that stock. You're gonna now cook those onions that you cut up earlier, just for a minute, just to kind of get them semi-cooked. Now we're onto our chuk sauce, which is kind of the reserve broth that we're gonna pour on top of our beshbarmak. You can use basically 0.5 liters of the stock that you used before cooking the noodles, or you can use the stock that you've been using to cook everything else in. You're gonna add a cut up onion and some cumin seeds, some black pepper, some salt, and you're gonna bring this to a boil. This is gonna be that flavor additive that gives your beshbarmak that really nice savory thing that makes it so tasty. Once you've cooked that for about 2 minutes, you're gonna pour that into a side bowl to be served alongside the beshbarmak. And there you have it, guys. My take on the Kyrgyzstani national dish, beshbarmak. Plated up, onions, meat, horse sausage, homemade noodles, chuk sauce on the side. Super, super excited to try this. So here we are in my Kyrgyz apartment, Stalin era house, pretty cool. And we've got our beshbarmak, 5 fingers, the traditional dish, the national dish of maybe Central Asia. We've got our chuk or chuk sauce. This is kind of a sauce that gets poured over, has all the flavor. It's the important part that kind of brings everything together. We've got our noodles, we've got our meat, we've got our horse sausage, we've got the onions, the dill, and by God, I think we've done it. So let's do some chuk sauce on the top here. That's what needs to happen. Boom. All right. And to be honest, guys, I think I did a pretty good job. I've actually outdone myself. I did a lot better than I thought I was gonna do. Of course, it's a very easy general meal. It's just boiled stuff, but it looks almost better than what I got. And the question is, does it taste better than what I got? So, in the tradition of beshbarmak, we are going to use our barmak, our 5 fingers. So, gonna grab a noodle, gonna grab some meat, a little bit of the onions. Not really sure why this is eaten with their hands, but I'm probably because they're nomadic and they don't use forks. Because they're nomadic and why would you take a fork on a horse? I don't know. So, cheers to you guys. Zdravia. I'm glad I could prepare this. Let's give it a shot. Oh yeah. The onions are aromatic. The addition of the cumin seed, really, really, really good actually. The meat, a little dry, honestly. It could have gone a little bit longer. I think you're supposed to keep it in the sauce, but I kind of was a little bit short on sauce. And the noodles, I prefer these. To be honest, I think I could have gotten them a little bit thinner. They're a little bit thick. I had, you got what you got in kitchens when you live abroad, but you get pretty nice stuff. So it's really tasty. The chuk sauce here is really what brings it all together. You got the boiled fat, broth, you've got some boiled down onions, the cumin seeds, It's really the flavor purveyor. And the lamb in this case isn't too gamey. It's really quite nice. And the last thing that I'm really interested in is horse sausage. She peppered it in with a ton of black pepper, a ton of garlic, like a ridiculous amount. And it's so aromatic, it probably makes the whole thing taste better. So let's give this a shot. Oh my God. That is absurdly delicious. So what they do is they take like a piece of, you know, like they don't chop anything up. They take almost a piece of like horse steak, that piece of horse fat, and then they just slam it into an intestine. But they add salt, they add so much garlic and so much black pepper. It's so savory and absolutely phenomenal. It goes really, really well with everything we've got here. My God. So guys, that is an American's take on the Kyrgyzstani national dish, Beshbarmak. I hope I did it justice. If you're Kyrgyzstani and you think I did something wrong, let me know in the comments. I'm pretty proud of this dish. I think I did pretty good for my first taste it, now make it food thing. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Rahmat, spasiba bolshoy. It's been great. I hope you learned something new. I hope I was able to take you on a little culinary adventure. And we've got a lot more stuff to see from Kyrgyzstan, so stay tuned and we will do it together. Das Fe Danya.